The real New York heat, my 124 Dyna FXDLS. Let's get into it. Alright, what's going on YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. And if you're like me and you're on the East Coast, then we are currently experiencing a crazy heat wave. And I figured, why not make a little video about the real heat, the true heat, which is of course the infamous White Flame 124 FXDLS. This will kind of be a little motovlog, just riding through a heat wave, like I said. Definitely going up into the 90s out here. And then with humidity, it feels like 100 or more. So yeah, it's going to be hot. But also, I just wanted to address a question that a lot of people have asked me ever since I made the leap to the 124, which is, hey bro, how are you able to get away with running that engine in the extreme New York heat, in the southern heat waves on the bike trips, etc.? And y'all, it actually comes down to a couple really simple things. So before we actually start riding, I just wanted to show you a couple things if you're someone that's trying to mitigate heat on a hot rod build. It's actually really simple. First up, you want to get yourself one of these. This is an Ultra Cool's heavy duty oil cooler. That's it. Throw an oil cooler on your hot rod Dyna, and that is definitely going to help you out, especially when things get really hot. So do not sleep on a quality oil cooler. That is a must with a hot rod build, especially in the summer. Next up, even though they are not the prettiest looking things, these little love jug fans actually make a huge difference, especially if the bike ain't moving in traffic. So this again has allowed me to get away with some of the sketchiest situations within extreme heat on this bike. And then the last thing is just make sure whoever is tuning your bike knows what they're doing, because ever since I had Mike the gynecologist tune this bike, I've never had it overheat, and it's always been able to handle the extreme heat, whether it's out here in the streets of Brooklyn or on the real miles on the long road. You know, whoever's tuning your bike, just make sure they know what they're doing. And Mike the gynecologist out in Long Island, that is the best of the best. So functionality wise, that's how I'm able to run this bike without it ever overheating. It has never overheated, and like I said, I've ran it through southern heat waves before, and I've gotten through that. So that's what I've done. That's just kind of addressing maybe some useful information for y'all. Of course, here's your startup. We gotta get that startup. That'll do. And there we have it, wrapping up a full day of riding in a New York heat wave with all its glorious heavy humidity. And like I said, with just doing a couple simple things, I was able to crush my miles today and not let the extreme heat dictate my miles. And one other thing I wanted to address in this video, because a lot of people have also asked me about this when it comes to riding in the extreme heat, is a lot of people have said, hey bro, why do you run those lowers? Isn't that miserable when you're riding in the heat? How are you going to get enough airflow through the bike with those lowers? And believe it or not, I get plenty of airflow with these lowers. You know, it doesn't really look like it from the side, but if you duck down and you look into the bike, there actually is quite a bit of air that's going to channel directly into the engine, as well as the air cleaner. So even though it doesn't look like it from the side, I actually am getting plenty of airflow. So if you're someone that's on the fence about putting lowers on your bike because you think you can't run them in the extreme heat, I've been fine. Like I said, I've run this bike through plenty of extreme heat, and these lowers have never stopped me from doing it. And yeah, you know, once it starts raining or once you start riding through the winter, let me tell you, these lowers are an absolute game changer. So yeah, I wanted to address that just because a lot of people have asked. Yes, you could run the lowers, and yes, you could rip the extreme heat miles. And I guess the other thing is, some people have also asked me, why have I never done the Pursuit light pods in this bike? And it's actually for that reason. I know that I am going to be riding in extreme heat. That's a good amount of riding that I do throughout the season. So I didn't want to block these vents. You know, this is a significant amount of air that's going to be passing through the fairing. So I like the look of the Pursuit lamps. And obviously, I think the visibility is great. But again, we're talking about airflow. I didn't want to restrict any additional airflow that I might want for the hotter days. So that's why I decided to leave these open on this build. And yeah, that's it. You know, I just wanted to come back to y'all after a full day of riding and just kind of show you guys, like, yeah, this bike, my hot rod Dyna, aka Band in NYC, it crushes hot weather miles like a boss. So don't let the myths fool you. Yes, you could run a giant, vicious hot rod motor. Yes, you could run things like lowers and still get away with riding through the heat. I'm doing it. You could do it too. So just wanted to address that as we close out the video. So that's it, y'all. If you're trying to dial in your bike to crush those hot weather miles, that's just a couple simple suggestions. As always, as you're crushing your hot weather miles, we do have some new merch available. Go check it out on outrideyourdemons.com. And that's it. Stay safe, stay low, outride the heat, and on that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.